From BLC Studios in Mankato, Minnesota, this is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin, with your host, Shane Frederick.
This is the Maverick Hockey Live Podcast, presented by Dunkin. I'm your host, Shane Frederick, and joining me today is Minnesota State junior forward Cade Borchardt. How you doing today, Cade?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right, considering the technical glitches that it took for us to get on with each other today. You would have thought after 2 years of Zoom and everything else that we'd figure this out by now, but that's all right.
Got it now. We're good.
We're coming to you via Zoom instead of the BLC studios today. Got some illnesses going through the Frederick household and through the Minnesota State team. So we thought we'd probably keep our distance. So I hope everybody's feeling all right down there at the rink, Cade.
Yeah, the boys are doing better every day. So yeah, hopefully we keep going in the right direction.
That's good to hear. I know everybody was a little surprised, I'm sure, if they watched the game on Friday night as I did and saw the lineup posted on Twitter, as it often is, and saw the names who were not in the lineup and the new names who got in for the first, some of them for the first time this season. And that included the goaltending situation with Dryden McKay out. What's it like, I guess, as a player when you're trying to deal with, and it could be injuries too. So we're not necessarily talking about illnesses, but in this case, having something go through and having those lineups be shuffled and trying to deal with that, when you go on the road for a big series or even when you're playing at home.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things about our team is the depth we have, and we bring in extra guys, so not everyone plays every night. And coach kind of just said, when he's telling everyone you got to come every day to the rink to work because you never know when your chance or your opportunity is going to come. And a lot of guys got their opportunity this weekend, and I thought they all played well. So, it was a different lineup, but, you got to be ready for those moments, and you can come at any time. So I think those guys did a really good job.
Tough weekend. You split on the road, not an easy place to play, not an easy road to go all the way up to Lake Superior State. You lose 1-0 on Friday night, and you come back and you win 3-0 on Saturday. If you look at the shots on goal for the weekend and things like that, it's probably a surprise that you come out with a split, but can you talk a little bit about the weekend? And I'm sure you probably like the way that you bounced back after a tough game Friday.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of goods to look at after this weekend. I think, obviously we didn't have everyone, but like I said earlier, the guys were ready to play, and I think we could have easily had that first game, and we didn't. But I think we did a really good job bouncing back in that second game, and that was a huge win to get that. So we learned from the first one, and we moved on and got that second one. So I think that was important.
Crazy to see you guys shut out on Friday after the number of goals that you put up over the previous 5 games. You were probably averaging, 6 goals a game or something like that. That was probably a little shock to your system too.
Yeah, obviously with the way we were putting in the goals, a lot of people were surprised, but it happens, and just couldn't find the back of the net. But like I said, we had to move on, and we did.
Just a little bit about Mr. Borchardt here. He has 6 goals and 9 assists for 15 points so far this season, coming off a really good sophomore year, which he had 24 points, including 9 goals, was 3rd on the team in points last season on the Frozen Four team. Scored one of the biggest goals of the season last year to get you guys to overtime. I talked to your cohort, Jake Livingstone, last week. We talked a little bit about that goal and the play that he made to set you up for that goal. But, you guys knew a lot about, the heartbreak that this team had faced, whether it was those first round losses or even the COVID year, your freshman year, to score a goal like that, to at least get it to overtime and then have what happened in overtime with Ryan Sandlin scoring. What do you think about that goal? Now you kind of look back a few months later and what it means to you and what it meant to this program.
Yeah, I think it was huge. And Yeah, that play by Livy was amazing. I mean, that was all him. He brought it all the way up the ice and found me in the slot. He still gives me crap a little bit about how I went away from him when I celebrated, which still kind of haunts me. I wish I would win to him, but I was just so excited. It was in the moment. But yeah, I think the play was huge, and it was all him. But yeah, that whole weekend was just a huge step in the right direction for this program. And yeah, hopefully we can have some moments like that, and not that close, but get some more moments like that and get back to the Frozen Four this year. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sure. Yeah, that's I never know. I'm always surprised when I see celebrations, though. I mean, there are players who, if they go right to someone or they know exactly what happened, or even after the game, for me as a reporter, having them describe everything to a T, I just can't imagine. I would think everything's such a blur that it's hard to even know where you go after you celebrate a goal like that. It's especially in that situation.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling them. It is a blur, and I look back at it, and it's pretty crazy. It was an awesome weekend. Yeah.
I know it's in the past. It's crazy, and you guys do such a good job, and Coach Hastings does such a good job of making sure that you're prepared for the week ahead and not looking back too much. But I'm sure it's nice to, every once in a while to be able to look back on a weekend like that, not just obviously that goal or that game, but to kind of have that kind of burned into your memory as a pretty good moment for you and for this program.
Definitely, I agree.
You talked earlier when we were mentioning the players who are out of the lineup and players who have to come in. Your story has become pretty well known just because of looking back to your freshman year here. You played in 10 games, didn't score. I'm sure if I remember correctly, a lot of those nights you might have been like the extra skater on the line chart. And you're just kind of waiting for your turn in an era, I would say, in athletics and college athletics where it's pretty easy to be impatient, whether it's players transferring or, trying to figure out what their future is or worried about that. You kind of waited out that year on a really good team where you probably knew what was ahead of you and who was leaving. And I'm sure it was frustrating, to not play and then to jump in as a sophomore and fill a role and really watch that role expand. I think that's a real testament to what, and a good lesson to players about being patient. Is that something, did you feel like you were patient as a freshman during that situation? Did you know what was coming, or how did you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been asked this a lot, and it was a long year for me. You want to be in the lineup every night. Unfortunately, some guys aren't, and I wasn't a lot of times with freshman year. But I mean, I think the biggest thing with me was just kind of sticking to it, not really trying to worry about it, just work on my game. I knew I was good enough to play. And it didn't happen for me as much freshman year as I would like, but I have a really good relationship with coach, all the coaches. I tried to be a positive guy, good teammate, and just not really try to worry about it. And I knew my time would come, and I wanted to be ready when my time came. And I feel like I did a good job when my number was called.
And then, are you just a person who, you said it was, it can be frustrating, but what is that something where, is there anything that you drew on to kind of help you get through that and to try to help you know that, hey, when your chance comes, you're going to be ready, but that chance isn't necessarily because of anything you're doing. It could be because you're playing on a team that's loaded with seniors, that's top 3 in the country, that, if COVID doesn't happen, might win a national championship, might go to a Frozen Four. Do you put all those things in your mind, or is there another way that you approach it?
I don't really know. I mean, I think I kind of just approached it, day by day. I really didn't try to worry about it too much. Like I said, I thought I had a good career in juniors and leading up to that point. So I thought I could have been playing. I just try not to worry about it. I just, like I said, just try to be a good teammate. And if my number was called, I was ready to go, but it was a long year for me. And I gave it a little bit as a motivation in the next summer. And I knew I wanted to come in my sophomore year and be ready to go. So
did you do anything differently over that summer to prepare and to, knowing there were spots? I mean, you had to still earn your spot, and coach talks about that a lot. I'm sure you didn't feel like you were just going to be inserted into a top 6 forward position and put you next to Nathan Smith and go. I mean, it's probably a situation where, you still had to earn that. And what did you do to kind of prepare for that? Because you certainly came out gangbusters once the season eventually started last season.
Yeah, I think I just had a really good summer. I don't think I really did anything different. Maybe I had a little more chip on my shoulder. But I don't think I did anything really crazy or different. I think I just worked a little harder maybe, and had that motivation in the back of my mind that it's a big summer for me and I wanted to take a step next year.
Is there anything that surprised yourself about the way you ended up playing, that things clicked as they did? I mean, I know every player is confident and you go out and you think you can do that, but you had a pretty consistent, especially the first half of the year. I mean, I think your name got put up there, amongst those early Hobie Baker lists for fan voting and things like that. I mean, that's a big flip flop of a career from, wondering if you're going to be in the lineup or not the previous year.
Yeah. No, I'm confident myself. Like you said, I think we all are confident, or should be. So I knew I was capable of it. So, I mean, I wasn't really shocked or surprised. This is what I love to do, and this is what I believe I'm best at. So I wasn't really surprised, and I had confidence in myself and just wanted to go out there and just be me and play. And I think I was rewarded.
Yeah, that consistency going forward. And once that starts to kind of roll and you start to mesh with guys and you're playing every night, that's got to be a pretty good feeling, huh? Yeah,
it was a really good feeling.
And you get into this season, and now there's expectations on you. What was that like coming in, trying to make sure that you didn't take a step back after a pretty good start to this, or after a pretty good sophomore season?
Yeah, I like that. Gives me a little extra drive, and I think a lot of good players like having that in the back. It can be stressful, but that's what we're here for. And I think a bunch of us players had a little more motivation this summer. The way we finished last year, we knew we could have finished the job in Pittsburgh. So I think just a lot of guys had a little chip on their shoulder, and we're ready to go right when we got here.
What's the season been like for you to start? I shouldn't say to start. We're almost into December. You've got a couple months in.
Crazy.
Tough schedule, and your numbers are pretty good. You had obviously the great game earlier this year. Was it the 4-point night? Right? Is that?
Yeah, it was Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
Yeah, it was Bowling Green.
it's all starting to.
I know it's already long ago. I know it's crazy. That was already like a few weekends ago.
Right. That was a fun night, I'm sure, with the way the crowd was, and to do that against Bowling Green must have been a pretty fun experience.
Yeah, that was a fun night. I had my mom and brother, and had some other family in town, so that was fun to score the hat trick there. My roommate Nathan Smith was the goaltender interference. He drew because I scored the third one on the power play in the first period, and he got the goal interference or whatever. So I still give him a little crap about that. But we got the in the second period. I got the third one, so it was nice to get that. But yeah, it was a fun weekend. But yeah, I think I'm playing well. Could do a little better job with certain things, but I think I'm going in the right direction, and I think our team's going in the right direction. So I'm looking forward to keep going here.
I don't know who I felt more bad about, you not getting the hat trick at that moment, or the fans who actually threw their hats on the ice then. And
the one hat on the ice.
Was there only one? Only one person?
I think there was I don't know how many were the first time, but I remember the second. I think the fans were confused when I scored the actual hat trick. I think there was literally one hat on the ice. I remember skating by it, so that was pretty funny. But
yeah, it was funny because I think I had noted that you were on pace to get a hat trick to try to beat Brendan Furry's. Because he got his in about 24 and a half minutes, I think, in an earlier game. And you got yours before the first period ended, and then they took it away. And then by the time you got the other one, you had passed that 25-minute mark. So
yeah, that's funny.
But it's, games like that have to give you a big shot of confidence as well. And I would think, and just when you're playing as well as you are with that line, or just as a group, as you kind of roll through the lines, the confidence has to be pretty high on nights like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, anytime the puck's going in the right way for you, and I think and it's going in, you get a little confident, and that's when you start rolling. So it was definitely nice to get that. And I think that our whole team played really well that weekend. Pucks were just going in for us, and I think they were all deserving. So yeah, it was nice to get a little confidence there and have the puck go my way. So because I know it wasn't for the first 10 games, I was getting pretty frustrated.
Yeah,
but it was nice to get on there.
So you're from Burnsville, and how much as a player growing up, I mean, how much did you know about Minnesota State? Did you pay attention to Minnesota State? I'm sure, like a lot of kids, you had dreams of playing college hockey. What did you know about the Mavericks at that time coming up through those ranks?
Yeah. So I grew up in Burnsville. I was pretty familiar with all the teams around in Minnesota and a lot of college hockey. I was a big hockey fan growing up, so I followed all of it, and I still do, obviously. And I remember one time when I was pretty little, my brother was a squirt, I think. His team came down here to watch a game because their coach was Paul Noterman, who played here. And so he had they came here for a game or whatever, and it was just a Friday or Saturday night. And I came with, and we got to go in the locker room after. And I remember I was wearing a Minnesota Gophers t-shirt that said Minnesota Gophers, and the guy and someone on the team, I don't remember what it is, I still don't have the shirt, he crossed off the Gophers and wrote State. And I was like kind of confused, and I was like, but so I remember that, and then I kind of always had a little something for Minnesota State. But yeah, everyone always asked, like, oh, Gophers, like the biggest team there. And I think it's cool to see the success of all the Minnesota teams in the last few years. You look at the top 20 of the rankings, you got all of them in there. Duluth's always up there with them winning the national championships, and the way this program's turned around here, and St. Cloud and even Bemidji. So I think it's just been cool to see all that. And I've always had a little something with Mankato after that. So I think it was cool.
I'm going to figure out who that player was. I think I
know. I need to find that shirt. I'm sure it's long gone, but it was funny.
Oh, that would be great. What year would that have been approximately? Do you remember anybody who would have been on that team? We'll try to figure that out at some point.
Yeah, I would have to look at that, who was on the roster then, but I would have to go back and do some homework.
And then from there, right, from Burnsville, you played some junior hockey, kind of bounced around a couple different teams, right? Three different junior teams?
3 years, 3 different teams. I played in Brookings in the North American League my first year. Then I went to Madison and the USHL the second year. And then I went to Sioux Falls my last year. So, yeah, 3 years, 3 teams.
It's quite the journey, man. I mean, and you're not alone on your roster with players who've had that kind of experience. But
yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of bouncing around before you get to a landing spot like Minnesota State.
Yeah, it is. I think it was a good learning experience for me, and I wouldn't take any of the 3 years back. Some years longer than others, but I think it all led me to in the right place.
Well, I think it has too. This weekend you're back at home. That's got to feel good, and you got Michigan Tech coming to town. Never easy to play the Huskies. What do you know about them going into the weekend?
Yeah, I know they're an awesome team, and their program's been around for a while, and they've proven themselves. And I think they play a similar style as to us. So I think it's going to be a real good challenge for us, and I think we're ready for it, though.
Yeah, they've just over the last few years, and certainly, I'm sure going into this new CCHA, the rivalries are pretty strong. You guys are well established. We mentioned Bowling Green earlier, and Michigan Tech has always been a team that's made life difficult for you, whether you play them up there or play in Mankato. It's always seems to be a real battle, and they're usually pretty fun weekends to watch hockey. You talk about old rivalries, and I think that's one of the great things that's happened over the course of the last years, especially under Coach Mike Hastings, is that some of these rivalries that have developed that are, might not have been thought of as great rivalries 15 years ago or more, suddenly are. And Michigan Tech is one of those teams, I think.
Yeah, I do too. I think them, Bemidji. I think there's a lot of teams in the CCHA that are turning into rivals or have been turning into rivals. So it always makes it fun when there's a little something extra on there with just having that background of playing each other and stuff. So yeah, they're a good team. They got a good group, a good structure there, and they're good goalies. So I think it'll be a good challenge for us.
Well, best of luck this weekend and stay healthy. Hopefully everybody's gets through the sickness and moves on to, it's better to have that early in the year than late in the year. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you too.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We're going to let you go, and I appreciate you being on with the Maverick Hockey Live podcast. Thanks for joining. My name's Shane Frederick. He's Cade Borchardt. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.